Hey guys, Alan E. Minnis here with HPAgents.com. I'm real estate broke for the last 15 years, and today I'm going to be talking about how to determine the value of a property. And now, whether that property is a single family, just a regular house, a condo, or a townhouse, it really doesn't matter. And what we're going to do, we're going to get right into it actually. Let's move over to the next slide here and how to find your value. A market analysis, also known as a CMA, comparable market analysis. Okay, this is how we find out the value of a property of the market, and hence market value, what the market will pay for at today's at exactly today. And we're going to be looking at a certain time period nearby, near area, same characteristics, and we'll get there. So it's not to be confused with a state value, also known as like a county appraisal. Now that just it gets close sometimes, but they can be very far off on a couple of things, such as homestead tax exemptions. Let's say, for instance, a senior citizen owns the property and he has a X amount of tax value that it's capped at per year. So let's say he's capped at like a 5%, and it goes over year after year after year. So it could be worth, $1 million, and the value says it's only worth 400,000. Or it just say, for instance, the homeowner adds on another 1,000 square feet but doesn't tell the county. So there's a lot of things that the county doesn't know, and really a lot of homeowners don't like them to know. They do not like them to know because it keeps the taxes down. It's just giving those tax dollars, and that's how they keep the property. To be able to live in the property and not to pay so much in taxes. So, yeah, so they can be extremely different. The tax value versus the market value. They're two different things. Now, we will talk about in another class that when buyers, they look at the appraised value, uneducated buyers will look at the tax value really quickly because it's so convenient to click on the tax number, and it pops up usually in the big cities the what are the tax values of the property. So anyways, just keep in mind these are two different things. Okay, guys, so a lot of people are asking, why not use Trulia or Zillow? Just to get like, Alan, the values right there is so easy. Why would I even do this market analysis thing? Like, okay, the reason why is because Trulia and Zillow and a lot of other different companies use big data. It's impossible for them to give you an accurate value analysis on a property because a lot of neighborhoods blend together. I mean, we've all been in our car and we drove through a great neighborhood, and just 1 minute later we're in a bad neighborhood, and then 1 minute later we're in a great neighborhood, and then 1 minute later we're in a bad neighborhood. And that's the problem, is that there's so many neighborhoods that are blended together, even neighborhoods in a neighborhood that are just they're totally different. We've all been on one street's different, and a couple of other streets is great, and vice versa. So this is where it comes into where you have to master that neighborhood, and you don't have to actually. I shouldn't say master, but you have to know. And if you don't know, you need to ask somebody that does know, and then get where those plots are at. Where does it begin? Where does it end? That's the area of the house that you're looking to get an analysis. So where does it comp out? Where are the common ones? Where are the ones where buyers are going to look? Where's the ones where appraisals are going to look? They're going to do a good analysis. So they're going to say, okay, wait a minute. Okay, so it stops here, and then it gets bad. Okay, then I need to stop right there, and then I need to go up, and then these 2 blocks, and then come back down. That's what you need to figure out, and it's impossible for Trulia and Zillow to define the value of a property because they're using that big data, and they don't know each single neighborhood. They're working on it. They're getting better and better and better, but they're just not there. So that's why we get a lot of people complaining, why is my house valued at 300,000 and it's actually, worth 400, or maybe it's worth a lot more than, but it only sells for. It's because Trulia and Zillow use that big data, and they're using like zip code searches or radius searches, and they're just bringing up close properties and everything. And it really is messed up whenever like very dense locations. So like if you're at downtown Houston, you do 1 mile radius, you'll get parts of River Oaks, and you'll get parts of Midtown, and you get parts of Edo. It's impossible. You can't do that. You use 77008, then it goes all the way up to like almost north part of Houston, all the way to mid part. So it's very messed up. You really have to. You can't use zip codes. Can't use the radius tool. You just have to know where those markers are at for that property, especially, and then and then set the pinpoints. So that's why we don't use Zillow, and Trulia. They're getting better, but they're not there yet. Talk to you soon. Thank you. Okay, let's move back here. Okay, so the facts. When we get started, we're getting started right now. We need to pull the facts. Like, for instance, what is the market area, the subdivision? And then you're not going to believe this, but actually, the subdivision of a subdivision. So sometimes there'll be subdivision section one. Yeah, it's so true, and a lot of people they don't catch that. So subdivision, and then check if there's any section numbers in that subdivision. So yes, it can get very. Then we're going to be looking at what schools is it zoned to, and how important is that. I mean, it can have a big effect. I know sometimes in Houston, when there's like a five-star school, with that, those houses get extreme value. And I'm sure it goes throughout the entire country. And of course, what type of home? Make sure you're comparing apples to apples. So if it's a single family home, a house that just a regular independent, has a yard, front yard, backyard, make sure you're comparing apples versus a townhome that has like one wall connected. And then of course, a condo is like an apartment, has multiple walls connected. Okay. Then we're talking about the age of a home. So we can't compare a brand new home compared to a house that's 50 years old. Although, if a house is 50 years old and then it's been totally gutted to today's standards, then that's a different story. But that's another class that we'll get into. And then we're going to talk about the square footage. So we got a couple of things to think about: the square footage of a property. We got square footage of the house, the living square footage. That means air conditioned space, like climate controlled space. And then there's the lot size. So these two things are super important. And I notice a lot of people giving their incorrect values because they overlook the lot size. So, I mean, what if you have a house 5,000, you have a house 2,000 square feet, and one has an acre lot and the other one has, 5,000 square foot lot. You see? So a lot of people forget. Oh, wow, I forgot to put the lot size in there, and that's where the price came up wrong. So then we're going to be talking about the bedrooms, the bathrooms, the garage spaces. The bedrooms and bathrooms are very important, of course. You can't just have 2,000 square feet in one bedroom, or you just can't have 2,000 square feet and then five bedrooms because it's super small rooms. So and then, of course, the garage sizes, or should I say, the amount of places for a car to park, whether it be a garage or a covered parking space or just a space to park the car. Because I know in some very like condensed areas, you will only have a place to park your car, and it's okay. I'm just trying to compare. So now we're going to talk about defining the area. This is super. Like we talked about it. We talked about not. We talked about the subdivision, but there's also subdivisions in a subdivision, which is so crazy. Like section one, two, three, four, five, whatever. So you got to be very careful. And then a lot of times people will use zip codes. But you can't really use zip codes because I don't know if you ever pull up the zip code. Just go to Google and type up any zip code, and it'll pull up a weird shape. It's not like a set thing. It's just like weird. And then, of course, they have the radius tool. That's just a circle. So some people will use the radius tool, some people use zip code, but that's not exactly right. Because what happens is that we end up leaving out comps, or we include comps that can harm us. When making an educated decision about buying a property or evaluating a property, we have to do it right. So I strongly recommend that you use the pin plot tool of a map. You just learn how to use it, section it out exactly right. And if you don't know where to pin plot, that's where you have to talk with a realtor or like people in the neighborhood, because we've all been to neighborhoods that were like, you cannot go to here, you can't go in this area. Or once you cross into this area, when you cross into this area, it changes, like it gets bad. Or if you cross over here, these are all the nice houses are at. Yeah, this is where everybody wants to live. So every street matters sometimes, especially in dense areas. Like when you're getting close to the city, like every block's different. And most of the time. So get with somebody who knows that area, then figure out where the area is at, so that you can section it off. And we'll do a few together at the end of this video, or maybe in the next video. We talked about that. If you don't know the neighborhood, ask the real estate pro, and you can always tell them, hey, tell me give me a little information, and you'll remember that realtor that helped you, and maybe you'll need some help doing a contract, or and then you say you can give them a flat fee. You can work with them. You want to establish a relationship with the realtor that's going to help you and actually do some work. They're going to partner with you. Then we're going to talk about investigating for oddities, things that are weird. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, definitely weird. We want to stay away from weird most of the time. What I mean by weird is like, I've done this actually when I first got started in flipping properties and wholesaling properties. That I was like, oh, I got a great deal. And I didn't realize that I got a great deal because of it being on a heavy traffic street. Just didn't think. I was so excited that I was getting such a great deal, and I ended up doing great on it anyways. But I have to understand that you have to kind of adjust. You have to adjust for the busy streets, a bad layout, maybe just a bad like neighbors. What else? Townhomes towering over you. These things people don't want to come home and then go outside of their lawn, enjoy, and then have people looking down on them. These things you have to adjust. And of course, people don't want to uh, come home and there's a bad smell, or somebody is doing something weird or has a junky backyard. So these things Zillow and Trulia can't tell you. It's actually the eyes you have to adjust. How about high HOA and maintenance fees? This hit me one of my first flips when I was like 24 years old. I remember I bought a condo in a very, very expensive area. It was a foreclosure, very good deal, but I didn't realize that HOA was like $600 a month. Just didn't realize. I was so young. This is like 15 years ago. Until I got the mortgage payment, I thought it was going to be like 1,500. It was a $2,100. I was totally nervous that day. Anyways, then we're going to be talking about, has the home flooded? So that's something you have to check in. Has the home flooded, and is it in a flood zone? So if you don't know if it's in a flood zone, just go to a FEMA.org or a FEMA. Check out FEMA's website. Type in the address, and you want to see if it is. And if it is in a flood zone, doesn't mean it's bad, because we need to check the elevation. The elevation certificate is what you'll be asking for, and then you'll check with your insurance provider to get you the quote with that elevation. They're going to ask you for the elevation certificate, but that's a whole nother class. We'll talk about that later on. Then, of course, this is a weird one. Has anybody been murdered in the home? It's okay if people have died of natural causes, but when somebody's been murdered in the home, it's something you have to disclose when you sell the property. So sometimes you'll find a property off market where somebody's been killed and no one's told you. And I know this sounds weird, and it's but this is something you have to. These are oddities in the homes that you have to be like, whoa, red flag. You're gonna have to adjust appropriately, because when you resell it, they're gonna look. And they're gonna like, wait a minute, somebody died here. Oh, wait a minute, it's a flood zone. Wait a minute, there's a guy has all his junk in the backyard. Or wait a minute, there's townhomes saying all these things adjust. But statistically, when you do the value analysis, it's okay. It's the eyes, it's the opinion of when you look at things around that you're adjusting for. And you're going to have to think in the shoes of the end user, how much they're going to want to buy it for. You see, because yeah, if we are evaluating the property, the end user is going to be buying it, and we have to do this correctly so they do buy it. One other tip is that in order to find these oddities, I want you to go by that location multiple times. Not now. If you're just doing a quick evaluation on the property, this is not that. This is really doing an evaluation, a thorough analysis on a property. So if you're just putting an offer out there, no, this is not really what you need to do. This is very detailed analysis about how to define a property. But go by there multiple times, morning, noon, and night. Why? Because when people get off different times, you want to see what's going on in the neighborhood. You want to see what type of music, what kind of vibe you get. Is it quiet? But you can only get that if you go by there multiple times. And now, most likely, if you're looking at this video, you're looking to buy it and flip it or wholesale it. So this is important, because the end user is going to be doing this, and you want to be able to adjust appropriately. This is all about adjusting for oddities right here. Um, then of course, okay, so we can't always jump in the car and go look at properties all day. We'll be in the car all day long. So what we do is use Google Maps, and you're going to be looking for a couple of things like oddities, like I mentioned, such as being next to like a retainer pond or a bayou. These are red flags. These are like, see, the market analysis statistically, the house is worth X amount of dollars. But wait a minute, nobody wants to live behind a bayou. Wait a minute, subtract 10%. Or, wait a minute, the neighbor, there's a lot of traffic. You have to adjust another, to say 10%. You want to do all these things that you're going to have to use Google Maps to do an adjustment. If you can't get in your car and get down there, but of course, this Google Maps is really valuable. Even if you do get, I mean, before you even decide to go out there, do the aerial view so you can check the busy streets. You can just easily check on aerial, and we'll do one together on the next video. I mean, this is going to be a series of video about how to do a market analysis. We'll do a couple of them together, okay? And of course, you can use Google Maps to check the neighborhood. You can use that. We'll do one, like I said, and you can just go through the neighborhood and do that little walkability. And it's really cool because you can see like the neighbors, are they well manicured? Is there a lot of traffic going down the street? Is it a four-way street? Is it a four-way lane or two-lane? Is it just one lane? You can do a lot with this Google and technology that's available to you at your hands, right in the front of your computer. I mean, I didn't have this when I first started, 15 years ago. So you're lucky that you're getting into real estate now. Now, setting the criteria for sold and pending. So what we're going to be looking at is sold and pending. Now, these are going to be the most important aspects. So a lot of people say, why not pull active? Well, the reason why we don't pull active is because any buyer, any homeowner can put their house up for $2 billion. It's only worth $50,000. Because with the flat fee realtors, flat fee realtor doesn't care. They're like, look, I'll do your whatever you want for $500, for $250, $1,000, whatever the case. You want to put your house up for $1 million? Fine, I'll put it up. No problem. You pay $500, or whatever you want. A flat fee realtor would do just about anything for money. And I'm not downgrading flat fee realtors because I've been there. I've been in the trenches where I need to pay rent, and I did do what I had to do to get out there and make money. But you want to do sold and pending because this is actually what the market has bought a property. Sold means that they most likely went through the banking process, and that includes an appraisal, and that sold actually had an appraisal 99.9% of the time, and they're going to be looking at it now, so it gives you a very good analysis of how much the property is actually worth. There will be some cash buyers out there that don't care about won't need an appraisal. If you're paying cash, you just, hey, this is my cash, here, sign over that deed, and that's it. Do a title research, and that's it. But if you're going through a bank, they're going to require a third party an appraisal that represents the bank, and they're going to give a really good market analysis. So it takes usually about $500 to $700, and it gives you a good report. But we're going to get there. We're making it a damn good report here with this CMA training series.
Thanks so much for tuning in and watching my video. Please give it a good thumbs up if you liked it or if you learned something. Hit that subscribe and notification bell. That will keep you learning. I'm throwing videos out there every single day about learning new techniques, negotiation, money-making skills that I've learned over the last 15 years, and I'm continuously giving you new tips. So follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Whatever avenue you are on, we are there. God bless, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.